Dear students, welcome back. Time now for the last module of this course. Let me briefly summarize where we are at this point. In the previous weeks, you have been introduced to the socio-technical complexity of infrastructures and to the complex adaptive nature of infrastructure systems. You are now familiar with the inherent uncertainty of such systems, and you understand that system behavior emerges from the actions of autonomous agents and components and the interactions between them at deeper system levels. We have explained the concepts of infrastructure sector reform through liberalization, deregulation and re-regulation, privatization, and the introduction of competition. You have seen that new developments were unleashed by such reforms, as well as by technological innovation. Think, for example, of the trends towards convergence and digitization of infrastructure systems and services, towards internationalization and cross-sector interconnections. Does all this mean that infrastructure systems are fluid in the sense that they can accommodate any development, any change in user demands and societal priorities? My answer here is ambiguous. It is both yes and no. It is yes, as infrastructures have shown tremendous versatility in accommodating new technologies and societal change over the past decades. But it is also no, as infrastructures do exhibit a certain rigidity, especially due to their capital intensity and their deep embeddedness in the spatial structure. Historical decision-making has created path dependencies in infrastructure systems, as a result of which their behavior is not entirely unpredictable. In turn, historical infrastructure investments have created path dependencies for the economic and social structure of our societies. In infrastructure planning and regulation, we have to strike a fine balance between protection of public values and accommodating societal change without endangering stability. You have learned to appreciate standards as a stabilizing factor in infrastructure systems, and you have also seen that standards are of crucial importance for interconnectivity and interoperability. In the world of infrastructures, many standards have been with us for more than a century, and the same goes for public values such as accessibility, availability, affordability, and acceptability. However, when looking into public values, we see that the precise definition of their content varies a lot over time. As a consequence, the trade-off between public values needs to be redefined time and time again. And that is a political process. And the outcomes of that process, such as new performance standards or new tariff systems, are highly sensitive to the occurrence of incidents and accidents. And here, the devil is in the detail. You are now equipped with some modeling and simulation tools that enable you to experiment with decision variables and that help you to acquire a deeper understanding of infrastructure system behavior. And we have given you some clues about how to design an IT architecture for infrastructure systems. With all this in mind, it is time to go to the next level. And in this final module, we will focus on cities. There are several reasons for this choice. Cities are hubs in infrastructure networks, in fact, hubs in many infrastructure networks at the same time. Cities are places where infrastructures physically meet and where synergistic effects can be achieved in the planning, construction, and maintenance of infrastructures and in resource efficiency. Cities are also the place where infrastructure systems branch out into multi-scale local distribution systems that serve districts, neighborhoods, streets, and, at the capillary level, individual households and businesses. In many countries, infrastructure planning tasks have been decentralized to municipal governments, which therefore carry a great responsibility in ensuring that the urban infrastructure system actively supports the livability of the city. All over the world, we see people flocking to cities. By 2050, it is expected that 70% of the world population will actually live in cities. In 2011, already more than half of the world population resided in cities. The trend towards rapid urbanization is most obvious in Asia, Africa, and Latin America, but also in Europe. Cities are growing again in population numbers. A very recent study by the UK Centre for Cities, published in November, only a couple of weeks ago, shows that the trend of the 1970s and 1980s, when people moved out of the city centres, has been reversed since 1991, and that the new trend of living in city centres has accelerated since 2001. In the years 2001 to 2011, the population of city centres in England and Wales grew by 37%, much faster than the 8% population growth in suburbs, or the 6% growth in areas further out. Despite the obvious disadvantages of living in city centres, such as pollution and the lack of green space, there seem to be rewards that make city centres and cities in general attractive as a habitat for the human species. In the first video lecture of this last module, we will look into the phenomenon of urbanization and its driving forces, culminating in the emergence of megacities. Then, in the two following video lectures, we will focus on infrastructure in an urban context, and especially on energy and water infrastructure. We will invite you to think about the challenges to be tackled by municipal governments and about the role of infrastructure in helping them to ensure and sustain an attractive and healthy living environment for their citizens, not only for the happy few, but for all of them. Considering the grand challenge of a factor 8 productivity improvement for the future, we invite you to think about how cities and urban infrastructure can contribute to accomplishing that goal. In our quest for viable answers to this pressing question, we must remember that cities are not islands. As cities are using natural resources in abundance, they have a role in protecting these precious resources, lest they create their own downfall. What role can and should citizens themselves play in this endeavor? After all, their ideas and their expertise as users of infrastructure-related services are an important resource to be tapped in developing infrastructure for the future prosperity of the city, for the well-being of those who work and live there, and for a healthy planet. With all that we learned in this course, you will be ready for the final assignment, which we explain at the end of this module. Thank you for watching. I hope you will enjoy this last module, and I'm looking forward to your feedback.